In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at 15 of the hidden rooms in Skyrim that can only be accessed with the use of console commands, meaning there is no legit way of getting into them. In order to get inside the rooms that I am going to show you, you will need to bring up the console by pressing the tilde key, and then typing COC, then press space, and then put in the editor ID. If you want to explore these rooms for yourself, then I will leave a link in the description to all of the editor IDs. Some of these rooms that I'm going to show you don't really have much in them, and so if I don't spend a long time on them, then that is why. But without further ado, let us begin. The first location is probably the most popular one, so I'll get this one out of the way first. The Windtown Pits is an unused location that would have been Skyrim's version of the arena. The arena is small and does have a few missing textures, however there is also some NPCs that are spectating. This location was supposed to have unique named NPCs as well as quests related to it, but it seems it was scrapped not long before launch as most of the textures are already done. This next room is an unused tower that is part of the Castle Dower in Solitude. The entire room has been textured and even has furnishings including lighting and clutter. After doing some research on what this room was originally going to be used for, it seems as though this would have been an escape route for General Tullius during the Battle of Solitude, where a final battle would ensue on the roof of the tower. Furthermore, in the game files, there is also an item called Key to Castle Dower Tower, which of course didn't end up getting used. Up next is the Dead Body Cleanup Cell, which if the name hasn't already gave it away, this room is where certain NPCs get sent when they die. The room is cross-shaped and has two coffins in one corridor. Furthermore, there will be a fake version of Malborn here, who you encounter during the Diplomatic Community quest. At this point, we are all familiar with Bleet Barrow, but did you know that there is a version of it that was used for the E3 demo? Most of it is the same as the one in the actual game, but there are a few differences. Firstly, the chests do not have locks on them, which was probably done to save time during the demo showcase. Some of the enemy placements are different, such as this hallway leading up to the first pillar puzzle room, which speaking of is completely gone. The whole puzzle room with the gate and winding staircase is not there, but instead it's just a corridor that loops round to the lower level. The giant spider has no animations and Arvel cannot be cut down and he just hovers instead. The biggest difference is that this room that goes into a different cell is gone and instead it just uses a normal door that opens and the golden claw puzzle is just around the corner. In the last room, the chest behind the word war is gone, but the one on the other side is still there alongside some other potions that can be taken. And the final difference that I could find is that there is not a lever to pull to get out, but rather just an exit to Skyrim. This next room is really quick and simple as there is not much inside of it to talk about, and that is the courier cell. This room is just an empty square room with only a barrel in the centre of it that contains all of the courier items if they have any, and that is literally it. This next unused room is an extremely small cave that hasn't been completely finished. This was added by the Dawnguard DLC and the only thing of interest in here is that there is a skeleton as well as a sword, helmet and some armour that is floating nearby. In order to reach them, you will need to make use of the TCL command that toggles the collision in the game. If you have played the vanilla introduction to Skyrim a few times, then you will probably remember a Nord named Torolf. If you can't remember him, then he is the one who tells his son to go inside the house when you are in the cart. Anyway, the next room we are looking at is called Torolf's Mill, which implies that he may have been the miller in Helgen before the dragon attack. As for the room itself, well, it does have some furniture, but there isn't much of it and it hasn't been placed properly in the room. This next location called the Dark Chasm is again one that was added with the Dawnguard DLC. Inside of it is a cave that is quite dark and the only things that can be found here is a campfire in the northernmost part of the room, as well as two bonemen that will attack you if they see you. Furthermore, near the campfire, there is two sacks that can be looted. This next interior is a small house that apparently connects to the Mind of a Madman map, which is a part of the Mind of Madness quest. After doing some research, the small house can be entered via a freestanding door northeast of where Shir Gorath stands, but after trying to find it for myself by using the toggle collision command, I unfortunately couldn't find the door, so I instead just teleported into the room. The room itself has a giant version of the altar tables that you can find in Nordic burial tombs, and in the middle of it is a tiny house. There is nothing inside of the house except for two doors. The first door will take you back out to the Mind of a Madman map. This is the door that I was trying to find. The other door leads you to a different part of the tomb that has things floating around the room. This makes it seem quite obvious that there was more planned for Shir Gorath's Daedric quest, but for some unknown reason it was cut from the game. The Dreamworld cells are 3 identical looking interior cells that are believed to be a part of the Cut Vampire questline. The reason being is that after doing some research I found this information. You were at one point meant to wake up in Krongvangia Cave, as can be seen by the leftover marker VO1 Krongvinga Awaken Marker Ref, still present. The VO1 refers to the first vampire related quest, so you would have awoken in the cave at the very start of the questline. It is possible but unconfirmed that you would have visited these Dreamworld cells before waking up. The room itself is in the style of a Whiterun house and has some items including wine and some rare notes. Among the notes there is a treasure map and the journal of a man named Heddick. The next room we are going to take a look at is called the Pagus Wing, which is honestly a really odd one. Firstly, this room was cut from the game and is an alternative cell that was going to be used in the Mind of Madness Daedric quest that is started in the Blue Palace in Solitude. However, why this is odd is because the cell seems to have 2 versions of it that are split from each other. I couldn't seem to find a normal way to get to the other side, and I instead had to use console commands to get to the other one. One version of it has less items and less detail inside, whereas the other one has trees, gates, a skeever, some dead NPCs and more items to loot. Finally, in one of the rooms there is a card game that can be played on the table where you need to activate certain match cards in order to match them with the same card. So for example, you need to match a diamond with another diamond card on the table. Solving this minigame is how you open the gate behind you. Overall, this location was really interesting to me and I really liked how the card game was still playable. This next room is another simple one and is just a homestead that is located in Haugen. When you come into Haugen at the start of the game, you can hear a man named Torolf tell his son Hamming to go inside. This is the cell that Hamming will spawn into when he goes inside. There is not much to the room, but you can actually use the door and it will spawn you in Haugen. The Obscured Passage is an interior that is the same style as Soderna Mine, which is a silver mine in Markarth that is used in the Forsworn Conspiracy questline. This cell has Dwemer architecture, levers that can open spiked gates, skeevers walking around, and there is a scribbled note that can be found at the end that says, "If you're reading this, you've also found the key. Leave them for anyone who may find this path later. Enjoy." Hoarfrost Grotto is a cut location that is an ice cave that contains some ice wraiths, a frost atronak, and finally a chest containing some items. This location is extremely empty and small, and so there is not really much special about it. And finally, this last room is very similar to Torolf's Mill and the Haugen Homestead in terms of the layout and furniture. However, due to the type of the name that this cell has, which is the Lost Man's Reprieve, as well as the fact that there is supposed to be tavern music playing here, it's safe to say that this room was likely Velod's Inn that was burnt in Haugen. There are many more inaccessible rooms in Skyrim to take a look at, so if this video does well and you enjoy it, then I will make sure to make another video on the topic. Thank you for watching, please leave a like if you did, and subscribe to the channel for more content, and have a great day.